Lesson 3. Meditation, scientifically explained. God is light. The communion of cosmic mind within its own being is a sequential transition from the still, unconditioned light of its knowing and the moving, conditioned lights of its thinking. The light of its knowing is the undivided, magnetic equilibrium. The two lights of its thinking are the divided, electric pulsations of two-way motion, which build thought forms for recording cosmic mind's knowing. Cosmic mind's magnetic universe is the still light of its knowing. Cosmic mind's electric universe is the product of its knowing, expressed by the pulsing lights of its dynamic thinking. Your light. The communion of cosmic mind with itself is identical in principle and practice to your communion with yourself, your oneness with cosmic mind. Your electric universe is the product of your knowing, expressed by your thinking. Through this communion, with full understanding of its meaning, you become aware of your oneness with cosmic mind. You become more and more aware of the fact that God's mind is your mind, that His knowledge and power are your knowledge and power. To the extent that you become aware of God as the still light that centers you as your soul, you are God. As you become more and more enabled to forget your body awareness and find yourself alone in that stillness of the light, you form inspired conceptions of ideas which come to you in timeless flashes of that light, which you do not see but know because of its illumining presence. You feel its ecstasy in the light of your soul and in the inspiration that accompanies your exaltation. All geniuses conceive their ideas with that accompanying ecstasy and exaltation. They then think those ideas into form. After the mental image is clear, they give a material body to each idea for others to interpret in the measure of their knowing. Journey of meditation. To sum this up, we might say that meditation is a sequential journey from the zero of mind knowing, through the action of mind thinking, to the rest point that centers two-way thinking, and back again to that zero of mind knowing. The more deeply you can comprehend this definition, the more simple you will find all things in life, for we do not depart from the above formula in any decision or action in life or in the solution of any problem in life. As we proceed, give deep thought to this formula and recognize its prototype on principle in everything. Desire within cosmic mind to manifest its being as the energy of the eternally creating universe. That is, desire within cosmic mind to manifest its being through producing imaged forms by projecting in light waves of motion from the stillness of its light of knowing as the energy of the eternally creating universe. Desire within you, likewise, is the energy that enables you to create your life. Constant communion with your source of energy will give you both knowledge and power to use that energy in order to give form to your inspired conceptions under your cosmic control instead of under your sensed control. Love principle in action. I have taken one step nearer to explaining the simplicity that underlies your interchange between knowing and thinking. Let us take another step in that direction by describing the love nature of the universe and how that love principle parallels the simple formula I have already outlined. Communion with God exalts you to the ecstasy of that universal love principle of God and of nature. Ecstasy is the one undivided emotion, the balanced ecstasy of love for which there are no opposites. The reaction to love given is love re-given. When your meditation gives you the love nature of God, you will know that there is no evil, sin, or bad in God or in nature. There is nothing but good in God's universe. In communing with God directly or through those moods of nature that lead you to God, you become aware that His nature is your nature. In your deep communion, you feel only the universal love nature of God extending through you to all the universe. You then love all things, for there is nothing but love extending through you and from you. Your own ecstasy tells you that. Imagine yourself communing with God indirectly, such as listening to the heavenly rhythms of the universal cosmic heartbeat in a masterful symphony. While thus enraptured by the divine rhythms reaching your very soul, can you possibly imagine yourself thinking evil or thinking sinfully by planning to cheat, or lie, or steal? No, of course you cannot. The reason you cannot is because you are reflecting the love nature of the universe in your spiritual self in its entirety, and there is no sun in that love nature to reflect. That is why you should seek God in meditation immediately if you indulge in an angry or even unkind thought. Through meditation, you will find balance in the universal love principle before the toxins of the unbalanced conditions you have brought on yourself, which all illnesses are, upset your balanced body rhythms. Live in a constant state of meditation. Make meditation a moment-to-moment, continuous attitude of your mind, in order to keep in tune with the universal rhythms of God's balanced thinking. Be in tune with them always. Never stray far enough from God awareness to allow the slightest imperfection in your work, your health, your friendships, your business plans, or in any achievement whatsoever. The more you become fully aware that you cannot do anything of yourself alone and desire partnership with the whole universe, the more you will find that you can say, in the deep depths of your communion, I am the universe. I am all that is, for the light of my Father Mother is all that is and I am that light. I and my Father Mother are one. That is cosmic meditation, for that is the thinking of the new race of cosmic humanity now being born. In the depths of your consciousness, you can desire what you will. And, behold, it stands before you. Manifestation of love. All creation is the manifestation of love. Every effect of motion in nature is a manifestation of the nature of God, for nature gives of its all in every action and re-gives equally in every reaction. If that were not so, the movements of the planets would not be predictable. The electric heartbeat of nature expresses love in both halves of each cycle of the universal heartbeat. Nature never takes, for God never takes. Nature never gives unequally, for God never gives unequally. God's equally balanced giving for re-giving is never violated in nature. It could not be violated, for nature is an extension of the nature of cosmic mind. For this reason, the balance of nature can never be upset. When you commune with God, do not have desire written upon your heart for that which is to be given to you. Ask, rather, to be inspired as to what you can give, and how, in order to be worthy of that which will surely be given to you if you first give. Unless you first give, you will not be re-given. Let your thinking be energized to express love by first giving love in order that its inviolate reaction will re-give love. Giving possessions, in itself, is not giving love. Love can be given only from yourself to another self, and gold given without self is like sounds of music given without also giving soul. The more love you give, the more love there will be in the world. The more love you give, the more love you will be re-given. To the extent that you are illumined with the light of love, which comes from communing with the source of love, you will be able to manifest your genius in masterly creations. A practical purpose of meditation is to enable you to give body forms to you ideas. Unless the light of love that illumines you is extended into your creations, they will not endure. These principles are universal law, which cannot be violated or set aside. If you break the law, it will break you equally, but if you work with that law, it will work with you to the fulfillment of your every desire. Meditation and creativity. A musician asks how meditation can help in composing a symphony. He claims that teachers are necessary because of the need for technique. Teachers can never teach you to be a poet, musician, artist, inventor, or creator of anything. God is the only one who can teach you to create. A teacher can tell you how to give a material body to your concept, but only God can give you your inspired concept. In other words, a teacher can give you a technique for expressing your idea but cannot become your soul from which your concept extends. If the teacher can re-inspire you with his or her inspiration, that re-inspiration will awaken a sleeping genius within you. However, no one can teach a technique for inspiration or re-inspiration. For example, if you become inspired by listening to Podorowski play the piano, it is not because you have been taught anything. You are inspired because you are now enabled to recognize the light within yourself by Podorowski's re-illumining. The beauty of music essentially is not in its technique, but in the soul of its creator. The beauty of music is not in the sound vibrations of music per se, but in the silences of the light from which the sound springs. You can know and appreciate music without having acquired the technique for expressing it or without producing sounds to give it a body. Your inner ears can hear the music in the silence of God's eternal rhythms, and you can interpret your moods into the rhythms of the universal heartbeat, as Beethoven interpreted the mood of the moonlight into its rhythms without any teacher but his own God self. Consider the life of any great musical genius. What the composer finally produces in a written composition first begins in the soul. The composer must first find aloneness with self by getting away from other people and from body awareness, freeing himself from all outer influences and seeking the stillness within, from which the inner ears of the soul can hear the rhythms of the universal heartbeat of God's creative thinking. In order to find the stillness within and to conceive idea from the light of all-knowing, the composer must stop sense-based, outer thinking. Then, inspiration is born in and from the ecstasy of the stillness within. The motif for the symphony gradually takes form through the heartbeat of the composer's inner thinking, which rhythmically extends from and returns to the stillness of the soul. Every time the composer's inner thinking returns to the stillness of the soul, the motif becomes further illumined by inner inspiration, while every time his inner thinking extends from the stillness of the soul, the motif takes increasingly more clear form to eventually become a masterpiece of art. This is the mode of all creative geniuses throughout the inspiring and ecstatic hours during which they commune with God. By such communion you unfold your own genius. There is no other way to become a cosmic being, for there is no other way to acquire inspired knowledge that uplifts you from earth to the high heavens of the kingdom of the soul, where cosmic humanity dwells. Source and teacher: no technical teaching is required for this inspired stage of conception of one's creative expression. Not until the creator of a cosmic idea wishes to give his concept a material body can the teacher be of help. By giving one's creation a material body, I mean extending the conception from the consciousness of mind, through thinking, to the sounds of a musical instrument or the symbols of a written manuscript. That process is purely a question of technique. The teacher is helpful in acquiring a technique and all the mechanics that go with it, which anybody of average intelligence can also learn from a teacher. In giving your conception a material body, many years of technical and scientific practice are needed. The science of the octave spectrum of color or tone is needed for expressing each of the arts, for from the octave wave rhythms, poets, painters, architects, sculptors, and musicians give rhythmic bodies to their inspired conceptions. Architects must first go to the source of all inspiration for their conceptions. They do not need to be engineers or mathematicians for that, but when they build, for example, the cathedral of their inspired imaginings, they must know the technique of the engineer and mathematician in order to give a material body to the imaged one. Likewise, painters, sculptors, poets, and musicians need to be informed either through books, teachers, experimentation, or experience about techniques of giving bodies to spiritually conceived ideas. However, technical information is not knowledge. You can be informed through the senses, but you can acquire knowledge only through desire of the soul for illumining with the light of all-knowing. Soul knowledge: knowledge is of the soul and the soul is not concerned with techniques. To the soul, techniques have no existence, for your consciousness can conceive a greater symphony, poem, monument, painting, or temple than you could ever give a material body to, no matter how perfect your technique may be. The soul's greatest masterpieces are never produced on earth. They never descend from their high heavens of the mind universe. No musical master can produce in sound the music heard in the soul while in communion with God. Physical sounds can be heard by anyone, but the silences from which they spring can be heard only by a cosmic, God-conscious being whose soul is in communion with the universal soul. Speaking again of techniques, a recorder can remember information recorded upon it electrically, which can repeat the information countless times with accuracy. The electric recorder is sensed for that purpose. It is a body without a soul, which obeys the will of an intelligence that presses a button. Many humans are like electric machines that remember and repeat information recorded upon their senses. It is said of such people that their technique is perfect but soulless. That means that God awareness has not yet been awakened in those people. That is what I mean by saying that teachers can give you techniques but only God can awaken the light of cosmic inspiration in you. Unawakened humans forever repeat the ideas of others, like electrically driven automatons. However, those who desire the light can and will always find the light through meditation. Through meditation combined with intense effort in acquiring technique, anyone can become a Rachmaninoff, a Shakespeare, or a Phidias, while roaming the universe and being alone with God.